Hey everyone, you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and I am your host, Andrew Davis. And this episode is brought to you by my sponsor, BCW Supplies. Use code POPANIMECOMICS to get 10% off your entire order. Bags and boards are expensive. Save yourself some money. It also helps to support this show. And without further ado, I have with me straight out of the Comverse, Pop Van Zant. So welcome to the show.
How you doing? It's good to meet you. Well, I mean, we've met before, but it's good to see you again.
We've met before, but we've been trying to do this for a while.
Yes.
And obviously, I'm busy, you're busy, things are going on. But I saw you have an Indiegogo going on, and it's pretty much the Cromverse Anthology Volume 1. I might have got the name a little boxed, so I'm sure you'll correct me in a second. But it's on Indiegogo, and I know a bunch of people know who you are. I know a bunch of people don't know who you are. I know a bunch of people think you're doing a comic, what's going on, the end of the world here. But what is the basic concept of the comic for those who don't know?
Okay, well, everybody knows I promote indie comics. And we have this little character that was, when we did the logo contest for the Comic Related Madness, this logo won. Let me see if I can get that there. This logo won, and that little green dude... I'll try to do this a different way. Hold on. This right here logo, okay, is the Comic Related Madness logo. We had a contest in the group. A guy named Edwin Badillo drew this. It won the contest, and that little green guy right there became kind of the mascot for the Comic Related Madness. Over the next couple of years, he kind of took on a personality of his own. A whole lot of other people have drawn him. I probably have 50 different renditions of Crom in different art from different artists. And right before Christmas, a friend of mine named Ryan was like, yo, Pops, you need to do something with this. And I said, no, I don't. I don't do what you guys do. I talk about comics. That's what I do. Okay. And so he kept after me. He's like, look, I'm moving, but when I get settled, I'm coming after you and we're going to do something about this. And I was like, okay. So sure enough, he gets settled, moved, and he's like, hey, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know. What are we going to do? I said, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll do an anthology. We'll take the little green guy and we'll ask everybody in the group, hey, if you want to do a little short story crossing your IP over with Crom, I'll tell you, a little bit about him. I'll give you a little bit of, who he is, what he's about, and you can do a story crossing him over into your universe with your characters. I didn't, I put one post in the group, man, and one post on Twitter, and my inbox blew up. A lot of people wanted to be part of this, to the point where, I was getting additional stuff. Jim O'Reilly jumped up right away wanting to do a early bird sign-up print, which he did as Steranko Cromage of Crom holding up his name, the Steranko art, right? From the Hulk cover, and it's Crom, all beefy like Hulk, and it's cool. And everybody who signed up early and backed the campaign gets that print. But Jim O'Reilly offered a sculpture. He's going to do one bust of Crom.
What we're going to talk about, I promise.
Yeah, there's just people just jumped up and were like, hey, I want to help. I want to do this. I want to, So I was kind of stuck then, and I had to do it.
So to even talk about this, because this is one of the things that I think is so interesting. Usually people are very protective of their IPs and their comic properties. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, hey, there's a bunch of rules. I don't want my character doing A, B, C, and D. And obviously people want it to be part of this. They want it to be part of your project. They find what you're doing to be interesting because it's Crom invading almost a lot of these people's IPs. And so what was that like, even that concept? Because that concept, I think, is a foreign concept and requires a lot of trust between you and your creators and the people you're working with.
Well, for me, mainly is like Crom is a really easy character to describe. He's an internet troll. He was born on Edwin's tablet. Okay. So he can basically manipulate the internet, which means your files aren't safe. Which means if he wants to shut down your stream, he will shut down your stream, etc., etc., etc. Right? Okay, so he's a little mischievous. He's a little troll. He likes to mess with people and mess with their creations and whatnot. And that's the crossover point. You see what I'm saying? It's like they get to bring Crom into their universe. I'm not asking them to change anything or do anything with their characters. They get to write this all themselves. They're using my character. You see what I'm saying? Which, as long as you just follow a couple of simple little quirks that he curses in binary. Okay. He was born on the internet. You know, people revert to their native language when they get excited and they're cursing. Crom's no different than anybody else. So if you see some ones and zeros, you know he's cursing somebody out, right? Okay, that's one of the quirks. I didn't want no F bombs in the book. You know what I'm saying? You know, I wanted to keep that kind of stuff to a minimum. He steals weed. It's one of his things, okay? And he steals people. He pop into your universe. If you got the kind, he's taking it with him when he goes. That's all. You know, he can transmit. You know, pretty much transport himself anywhere through the internet. Okay, if it's been referenced on the internet, he can go check it out. So outer space, Voyager, all these ships that are sending, information back to the U.S. or back to Earth. You know, it's like he can ride that wave right out to a Voyager and go anywhere, do anything if it's been referenced on the internet. A time, a place, he can go there and manipulate and mess around. One of the stories that I really like is Brian Kriskow's. Because he goes and manipulates his comic book files and destroys his empire, destroys his comic book empire by, manipulating the files that went to print, and what got printed and distributed wasn't what he thought. And it just ruined his whole empire. It's great. Good stuff. I like
it. To even talk about this, because obviously your character is invading 13 worlds, give or take, I believe. And 13 different people's IPs and things like that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, a couple of them even wrote like pocket dimensions of Crom, where like Crom's like they kind of created a little pocket dimension that he lives in, and manipulates things from there too. If he's like taking the day off. See, I mean, these guys have really done some good stuff with this. And man, the scripts were amazing. A couple of scripts I didn't even want to see. You know Glenn Fleming, right?
I don't think I do.
Comics Unlimited, Hatch. He does a show with Ted Davies. Comics Unlimited.
I know who Ted is.
Okay.
But the name's not ringing a bell. But it's not important in this. I don't know everything, guys. I think I do, but I don't. As much as I would like to think that I do, and many people like to also think I know everything, I don't know everybody and everything, but continue.
He's done a comic book strip called Hatch for decades. Okay, he lives in England, but he's done a comic strip called Hatch for decades. And Hatch lives on an asteroid all by himself. No interaction with anybody. Glenn wanted to be part of this, and after 30-something years of doing this character, he's somehow going to interact with Crom, interact his IP with Crom. And I was like, Glenn, I don't even want to see the script. I don't want to see the art. You send that straight to the campaign manager. I want to see that when I open the book. I'm still a fan, you guys. You got to understand. I don't want to see every piece of art and everything that goes into this. That's why I had to have somebody else run the campaign. And that was one of the stipulations. Somebody else had to do this. And we had to have RJ at Critical Blast handle the fulfillment.
So let's talk about that and being a fan and going from being a fan to being, I guess, a comic writer and running a comic project.
A creative consultant. I'm not writing anything.
Okay. Creative consultant. We can go with that. But even going to the point and where I'm trying to go, going from sort of commentating on comics and introducing people and having these conversations, because obviously that's taking a step into the business, to now going a step further, I think is a fair way to put it, right? Where you're now producing something, your character is part of producing something. And so, what is that like for you? Because at some point, whether it's this year or early next year, I'm going to be taking that step too. And so, it's a very interesting thing where, because I think most people, and correct me or feel free to disagree, but I feel a lot of creators have said, I want to create a comic, and then they create the podcast second, and they do the commentary second. Well, I think you've done the commentary first, like me. And so, what is that like for you to enter this stage? Because you're now catching a second buck versus from commentating, and it's very cool, and it's something that I'm looking forward to doing.
I kind of got dragged in kicking and screaming, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I had I had stipulations. I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't running this campaign. I don't know enough about what those guys do. Okay. I'm not a writer. I'm not the art talent. I'm not a letterer or editor. I can be a good proofreader. Okay, I can do that. But I mean, this to me it was all foreign. It was like they were Ryan was like, dude, we got to do something with Crom. And I never it never entered my mind, Andrew. That was not what I was trying to do here. Okay. I promote what you guys do, or what those guys do. Okay. Had no intention when we named Crom, he was the mascot of the madness. He was not a comic book character in training. You see what I'm saying? We weren't building anything around him at all, other than he was just the guy we were marketing as Crom, as the group mascot. That was these guys brought life to him. These guys are giving him. These guys are making him into a character. I'm not. It wouldn't be happening if all these guys didn't jump in. 15 different people are writing stories or contributing art as of today. This number grows. Okay, I had somebody hit me up last night. Hey, or this morning. Hey, man, how much time do we got to get a story in? I'm like, you know what I mean? They're still coming at me.
So,
Okay.
so what is that like? Because it must be very rewarding that people are like, hey, I like your character. I like you as a person. I like the people who are on this project, and that, this is sort of a happy accident that wasn't supposed to happen. People say, look, I want to be part of this. And, for whatever reason, they could say, hey, this is just a fun story. This is a cool idea. Why wouldn't I want to have a canon or not canon position in my IP to some degree? Because everybody obviously with Crom is going to have a different reaction. It could just be a side, so DC Black Label, or for somebody maybe it could be a massive component to their IP and involve their character and then reference it somewhere 6 issues later. And so, what is that like for you? Because it is a very cool position to be in, and then the fact that it's growing and that people are like, I got a week to get this in. I could get it done in 5 days,
Yeah, see, that's what I was like, man, it's like deadline is the 20th, but if you can get, he was like, I just want to do 4 pages real quick. You can get 4 pages in for me by the 20th, you're in. Just like that. I don't even, like I said, this is for me, it's a promotional, another way to promote what all these guys do. Now I get to talk about all these people at one time when just talking about one book instead of having to talk about 30 different freaking books.
So to even go further into this, because, and I think it lends itself to my question a little bit as well. You're going now from being what is considered a commentator to being a player in the entire world and everything that's going on. And so, what is that like? Because I don't know if that's going to ruin it for you, if it's going to make it better for you, or you just feel that saying, hey, I now have an opportunity to truly promote more people. And I also have the ability to support and really highlight all of them without them competing with each other. Because you can now highlight 15 to like 20 people all at once. You're still muted.
Dogs were going crazy again.
Oh, it's all good. We're live. Anything could happen, guys. Anything could happen. It's live.
Oh, well, they're used to me and the dog. Anybody that knows me knows that the dogs are going to make noise or come visit. One or the other.
Hey, look. I got not a great setup in this, so I have no right to complain. You're seeing this. I'm in my parents' kitchen doing this. No microphone. I'm bootstrapping it, so I got no right to complain or criticize any background noise.
It's something everybody's come to know and enjoy. They can probably tell the voices apart, which dog's making which noise by now. They've heard it so much. I just went 700 and something programs on my channel. I mean, you don't realize how fast they add up. You know, I've been doing the CromCon and stuff on my own YouTube channel for a little over a year. 14, 16 months, something like that. And you don't realize it until you go look one day and you're like, holy crap, I got over 700 videos on this channel, and it's like, it's only been a couple years, not even a couple years, and I got all this content, and it's crazy. I've had so many good times, met so many cool people. Mike Barron. Okay, Mike Barron was the first person in this whole mess to ever go, here's my phone number, Pops, call me. And I was like, okay, because nobody's that personable and gives out their phone number anymore. Everybody communicates online, right?
Mike Barron is a unique individual. I love Mike Barron.
He's actually doing an introduction in the Cromniverse.
So let's actually talk about that, because my Mike Barron story is a little bit different than others, where I had him on for Thin Blue Line, and I was a little scared, to be very honest, not because of the content, but because how it's going to be received. Because we live in a society where I have friends who have very interesting reactions to police officers, and it's funny that you laugh, but it's a fair concern.
It's a hyperbolic world right now. Everything is sensationalized to the point of, everybody's got to have a fiery opinion about everything. And
it's also the fact that in my past, people have tried to cancel me. It's happened twice, and people have tried to go for me and end my business. They didn't succeed. Neither one. They've tried to cost me friendships, and some damage has been done, but new allies have been found along the pathway.
You know that guy, right? You know that guy in the chat right there?
Exactly.
That guy. I know that guy.
Yeah, I know who this Max DeVille fella is in the comments. But one of the things that's happened, and what I was actually shocked by, is that during that interview, when I started promoting it, there's only one group that pushed back against me, which I thought was going to be more than one group. And it actually was a good interview as far as it being received. And so what is that like for you? Because I think Mike Barron has tackled a very complicated issue, but I think it's also been well received and well respected. It also is justified to some degree, because it did 90 to 100,000 on Kickstarter. So
that's after he did that on Indiegogo.
Did he do 100,000 on Indiegogo?
I think he got. Yeah, I mean, he did a chunk of money over there, and then he did a chunk of money over there. And
what he did twice as much as on Kickstarter than he did on Indiegogo.
My thing with Mike goes back to Florida Man.
So what is that like? Because I think, obviously, I'm a free market guy, so I think that there's been a lot of respect to Mike Barron, and I think that adds a lot of credibility. Whether you want to be dragged into this or not, I think Mike Barron has changed the public perception of him, because he's tackled an issue, but the market has spoken and said, we want this comic. And now that he's involved. So what is that like for you? Because that adds a lot of credibility.
For me, Okay, like I said, I've known Mike for a long time. When subreddit tried to cancel him over Florida Man because of his association with Chris Brawley from Bleeding Fool, it wasn't even anything that Mike did or said. It was because of the guy running his campaign, and they tried to cancel him. And Mike was a friend of mine, and I wasn't going to stand for that. So I was very vocal about going out, talking about it, promoting Florida Man, getting him on shows. I went out of my way to make sure. And then they tried to ban him on Facebook, and they wouldn't let him promote the book on Facebook. So of course I went out and I shared it on Facebook a million times a day. And I mean, that's the kind of guy I am. You don't get to cancel my friends. Okay, you shouldn't be canceling anybody. People that deserve to be canceled usually cancel themselves. They don't need any help.
It's also the idea that the free market will solve that problem 99% of the time. Every once in a while, the market gets it wrong. And in the interest of fairness, I could think of like 2 or 3 off the top of my head where the market got it wrong. But for the most part, the market takes care of it. But continue.
Yeah, just like Max said, he bought Florida Man because of all that BS. When you try to shut the door on talent, the fans are gonna speak. And in this case, the fans went, no, we like Mike. You don't get to cancel Mike. You don't get to shut Mike's projects down. You don't get to be that way to Mike. Mike's a nice guy. Okay, well, there are a lot of nice people in comics, and they on both ends of the spectrum. And there's a lot of nice people that just want to have fun. That's all I'm trying to do. As long as you're nice to me and you're nice to my guests and you're nice to the fans in the chat, you come hang out on my shows. It's that freaking simple. I just don't do the drama streams. I don't do the I'm not about the negativity. Even though the Streisand effect can be good, I'm not feeling that you're supposed to make that happen. That's supposed to happen naturally because somebody did something stupid and then you get a bump because of it. It's not supposed to be something you plan out. You know what I mean? I feel like there's some people out there that go out of their way to plan a negative campaign. I can't do that. I just don't. I don't believe in that.
It's look, I like to avoid drama. I'm not a drama guy. I'm here to interview people. I'm here to ask tough questions, push fair questions, have reasonable discussions, have intellectual discussions. And I mean, I had Hart Fisher on, and it was a very intense interview. But then we tackled a lot of stuff. Oh, he's great. I mean, we spoke a lot about freedom of speech, and I'm a free speech absolutist. And so I'm a big proponent of like the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. I've been, supporting it for over 10 years. I had Dennis Kitchen on my other show, who was one of the founding members of it. So my point is that I'm here as an interviewer to have discussions and open it. I'm not a fan of cancel culture, where I think you can voice your opinion and you can say, well, I don't like that book, and I think that book is doing more harm than good. But you know what is? Why don't you actually go and have a reasonable discussion with somebody about it and have an intellectual discussion? And who knows, if your point is valid, maybe you could sway the market a certain way. But expect somebody to justify it on the other end too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't say I've seen any books that I thought that book shouldn't be. Okay, because I'm one of these people that think the artists are the first people they go after, and they should have the right to be artists. Okay, I mean, yeah, there's some crappy stuff out there, but I'm not the comic police or the art police, or I'm not the moral compass of the comic world. They have one. His name's Mark Polton. He's a really nice guy. I'm trying to have a good time. That's all. I'm trying to have fun. I really enjoy doing this. Like you said, interviewing people, doing my monthly CromCon. Dude, I come out here and I sit in this chair for 3 days, man. I'm out here all day talking to one person after another, doing panels, doing open draw streams, all kind, we have a good time all weekend. That's all I'm trying to do. This project was just another way I get to promote a whole bunch of people. And they're doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these people, because you have Edwin, Ballino, you have Manny Soto.
Edwin Badillo is the guy that drew Crom the first time in that logo. He is the guy who there would be no Crom without him. And he was the first person that I went to when Ryan said we got to do something. I went to Edwin. I was like, hey, yo, I was like, they're kind of coming after me about doing something with Crom. You want to get involved with this? You want to be? And he's like, oh, hell yeah. And the next morning I had like 2 cover concept pieces in my inbox. Like he sat up all night drawing. He was that excited about doing something with that little guy that he drew first. His partner Manny Soto is if you've seen all the graphics in the madness, like me pointing at the word bubble and stuff like that, Manny drew all those. Okay, so these guys have been part of the madness, part of the graphics, part of the branding of the madness since the beginning, right? So they're both involved in this, which I wouldn't have felt right doing it without either one of them. They're old school. And then you just got so many cool people, man.
Just to drop some names, you got Anthony Romano in there. You got
Ken Lemire, Glenn Fleming, Eric Hodson, the dreaded dinosaur man,
Paul Gomez, who's coming up.
Bushy Boo Circus and Cryptic Haze. That's Paul Gomez. Hex Allen, Nephilim Squadron. Allison McGloon, the Alley Cat. She hangs out with Peter Palmiotti. She's doing a story. Tank Ferret Art. Tank Ferret's doing a story. Specs Thompson is doing a story. This thing is just, come on.
So I mean, there's a lot of people, and there's some fantastic people, and even just to talk a little bit about that, because one of the things, and I'm actually very curious. I mean, we could go through the names and a bunch of names you just mentioned. Obviously, there's a lot of comic talent and a lot of art talent and a lot of talent outside of comics, because some of these people have been doing other things outside of comics for years. And I think we didn't get to some of the people in the art, like Bill Naus, Rich Perota. I think I got the name right. Nick, I'm not going to say the last name because I'm going to get it wrong.
Nick Cefalo is the one doing the shoes. He's the one that did those Mike Barron, those Punisher shoes for Mike Barron. There's a picture of them on the campaign. You can check. Yeah, see those? Nick did this. He's doing a pair of Crom shoes for me right now. And he also offered to do 10 custom pairs of Crom shoes on the campaign. It's a tier. You can get a book and a pair of Crom shoes. Custom done. None of them are going to be the same, with different art from the stories.
I might make him make me a custom pair because I'm thinking about it with my logo on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's all about, doing it for other people too. But if you want Crom shoes, you got to get them through our campaign. He's not going to do Crom shoes outside of the campaign. You have to, but he is, that's the whole reason I brought him on board. I want everybody to see how cool what he does is, and hopefully get some work sent his way. I mean, he's a friend of mine. I want to help him out too. You got Rich Parada, Allison, Tank, and Rusty Gilligan are all doing sketch cards.
Rusty's been on this show, and then Daphne. I just had JD on my show.
Daphne did one of the trading cards. If we get to the first stretch goal, we have a set of trading cards that we will give out, as well as the original art from the 3 cards will go up on the campaign, available for sale. Daphne did one of those pieces. Daphne's piece is also going on my shoes. So I'm just saying, Cindy Kep did these little crochet crumbs.
Those things are cool. Those things are cool.
She did this one for me, and when we did the campaign, I was like, "Hey, Cindy, make a couple more." So she said she'd make 5, and they sold out right away. Can't get one; they're gone. We have cool stretch goals planned, but like I said, we got to get funded first, and it doesn't matter how cool they are if we don't get funded. We're just talking then. So know for a fact that if this campaign is successful, there's going to be some really cool stuff coming as we progress. We have some really cool stuff in mind. Like, I mean, obviously, we're throwing shoes at you. We're going outside the box. Okay.
So we're going to talk about that, but I am curious because obviously Rusty's been on this show. JD was on my show. I know Paul, and at some point Paul will be on my show, and there's a few other people, and I'm probably going to steal some of the people off of your campaign. I'm sorry, I'm letting you know. Fair enough. I'm taking them
No,
for interviews.
I pass these people around like a fatty, man. They all know it. That's look, what I do isn't just try to get people on my show. I tell them about your show and Critical Blast and Will Show, and I tell them about good stuff. I tell them about all the other shows they can go on because I want them to get as much exposure as possible. That's
To even talk about this, because the talent you have involved in this project is really high end talent, and people who are doing really cool shit, for lack of a better word. I'm purposely not cursing as much as I would like to. So it's because I definitely want people to realize that this is definitely a little bit more of a kid friendly book to some degree.
It's there. It was supposed to be completely kid friendly, but there was a couple of stories that were a little bit 13 that were just too good not to include. I couldn't.
I'll rephrase. I would feel comfortable giving this to a 13-year-old. I'm not going to give it to a 5-year-old.
There you go.
And it's not a book where it has nudity in the book. I don't know if you know Corey Hardiman by any chance.
Yeah.
So Corey's Sister Mercy is not a 13-year-old book. You know what I mean? It's a mature reader book, and your book is more 13. An 11-year-old probably would be fine with it.
I don't know. I'm keeping it PG-13 and up. I mean,
fair enough.
You got the weed aspect, and you know what I mean. I got to be
fair enough. I digress. But
not only that, but I think the one story, the 6 Gun Gorilla story, has maybe the idea represented that those girls over there are all nude, gonna hang out with dude when he gets because Brian Christgau made himself into like a Fabio-esque empire, runs the 6 Gun Gorilla empire, and he made himself all pretty, and he's like, well, if I'm writing myself in the book, I gotta be good looking.
We're just gonna table that. We're just gonna quietly walk away as if we broke something in a store on that one.
But it's all fun. It's all designed to make you laugh. Doc Blaylock's story, I wish he had never told me how it ends, because it will make you all bust up laughing when you get to the end of Doc's story. It's great.
So to even talk about this, because one of the things is that, and where I was going with this is that there's a lot of talent, and this is probably some of the best talent in indie. It's on par, I think, with a lot of Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, and mainstream. And so, what is that like? Because I don't think the problem anymore is finding talent or finding good artists or contributors. I think the problem in indie comics is, how do you find people who have the right attitude, who have the right fit for your story, the right feel for your story, and availability? Because that's a big thing. And also price. Price matters too, to some degree, because at a certain point, especially when you're putting together a book, if somebody is a little too pricey, they get out of your range. So I think those are sort of the problems I think indie comics and the creation process is having. So I'm curious how you feel about that.
Well, this was one of the things that I didn't have to encounter. Okay, first off, everybody knows I'm a broke ass. I ain't paying nobody nothing unless we make some money, right? Everybody knows that. Everything about what we're doing has been totally transparent.
We can table the money argument then.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch any of my shows, you'll see somebody from this campaign on the show doing work on something on the campaign. Mm-hmm. You get to see this campaign develop over time, right? But okay, you got to figure, we started talking about this at the beginning of January. Seriously, that's when we did the post. And so everybody who jumped on, which everybody jumped on right away, we had a book within a day. We knew we had enough pages to do a book within a day. Just the people that jumped in, they were, I'll do 8 pages, I'll do 10 pages, I'll do, and we're like, okay, this is happening. We knew that the first day. Okay. So then it was just a matter of, okay, how many people are we going to, how big is it? We're going to let this thing be, 100 pages. We're already at 100 pages, and we still got one more guy wanting to jump in with 4 more pages. So we know it's going to be big and it's going to be good. You know, the art we've seen already, the scripts we've seen already are all, you know, like you said, these guys are top talent. Okay, one thing I wasn't worried about was anybody not making the deadline. These people are all professionals first. Okay, we're talking about 4 to 10 pages, not a 40-page book. You know, they were talking about 4 to 10 pages that they've had since January to think about and put together. Okay, the deadline for all the story art to be in is 420. So nobody has come to me and gone, "I'm not going to make deadline." Nobody. Okay. Well, the campaign ain't going to end until 5/25. We are going the extra 30 days on Indiegogo. I'm not trying to deceive anybody about that. Go, oh, we're not only going 30, and then at the last minute go, oh, we're going 60. No, I ain't, we're going 60 days. Okay, so these guys got a 35-day cushion after the deadline before the campaign ends. I'm pretty sure these professionals can handle this. I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? Pretty sure these guys can handle this. I'm not too worried about it, right? Having stuff up on the page for people to look at seemed to be a huge issue. So we're working on getting at least a synopsis and some art from each story up on the page. I think we have 7 of them up there now, where you can see interior art from 7 of the stories and a synopsis of each of those. The covers, 3 of the 4 covers are done. One of them will be hand painted over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be watching that develop live. Again, because I do so many live shows, you guys get to see the progress. There's no waiting for updates crap. It's like tune into my show. You'll find out what's happening every day. You'll know.
So you get to talk about that, because that's kind of a real advantage, I feel. And obviously I ran a Kickstarter, and it was helpful that I was doing a lot of live interviews, because it was just reminding everybody that, hey, my Kickstarter is going up, support it.
And you catch ideas from other people, and you're looking at the other people's campaign, you're going, oh, I wonder if we can make that work on mine. How would we, you know what I mean? It's
I definitely think that going forward, obviously mine was a podcast, but I'm producing a comic project. So with me going into comics, I steal ideas from people, and I even run ideas privately behind people. Because sometimes you want to pick somebody's brain on an idea, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And a writer will have a different idea than a cover artist will, because they will see the same problem differently. And then another artist will say, well, person A said this, person C said that, I'm person B, let's fuse them all together. And it gets very interesting. So I picked up a lot of ideas from people, but what is that like for you? Because it's a built-in marketing arm for this, especially when you see somebody working on a page, or they're talking to you and they're drawing, and like, oh, I just drew Crom in this thing, or they're coloring or something like that. So he says, okay, this project's moving along and it's inspiring. And whether somebody backed it or didn't back it at the moment, they're now saying, oh, I see this project developing and I see momentum. So it's kind of a cool experience, because it's now just not the Indiegogo anymore. It's the journey to the Indiegogo, if that makes any sense. Not to make it like we're going to the journey of the center of the earth, everybody jump in. Not to make it like that, but sort of like that.
It's kind of like an episode of Sons of Anarchy. I mean, I got to January and everything went boom, left turn. What am I doing now? Okay. Look, I'm a fan. I like to talk to these guys. I like to talk about comics. I like to get their campaigns seen so that other people back their books. I want everybody to be successful. It's that simple. Now I got all these people working on the campaign that I'm the face of, and I'm not the talent. I'm not the campaign manager.
You're the GM, man. You're the owner of the team here.
I'm just, I mean, everybody else is doing the work. Okay. My job is to make sure you all see it as soon as I got something to show you. And I will keep doing that throughout this campaign.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm very curious about this, because, and I'll actually preface my question with my thoughts. So I think sometimes the most important person in a Kickstarter is not the talent, but the marketing arm. Where I think you could have a Kickstarter where you have a writer and an artist, and then each person, then you have the third person, everybody owns a third of it, and that's the marketer. Because I think that just as much as the actual book, if nobody sees your book, who cares if it's the greatest thing on the planet?
I
You
tell
know,
people that all the time. Man.
and so this is where I get agitated as a podcast host is that I'm like, could you share the episode in your newsletter? Because if nobody sees us having a legitimate conversation and diving into your book piece by piece by piece, where like you need to share it too out there. And
Mhm.
so I find what you're doing is that you're the marketing arm where you might be even more important than the talent per se. And this isn't a knock at the talent, but you're getting eyes on the product, and
See,
that's a big deal.
the whole thing is that COVID made it so that everybody had to learn to promote. Everybody had to learn to be able to promote themselves. They used to be, before COVID, they just go sit at the table. All the stuff around them sold who they were. You walk by a table and all this cool ass art. Now I'm looking to see who this guy is. I'm getting his business card. I might be buying something. But at the con, it's a visual sale. Okay. Once the cons were gone, there was no visual sale for these guys. Okay. We became the visual sale. And for me, it was encouraging people to come out on the show. Okay. Now, the first couple shows, nobody knew who I was. They weren't huge draws or, nobody made a bunch of money, but it slowly grows and grows and grows, and it grows on that platform, not anything else other than, if you come watch one of my shows, you're going to see some new stuff or, what's going on now, what's live on Kickstarter, what's live on Indiegogo. You're going to see it. That's what my platform does. There, that's promotion is the second most important thing to the product itself. I mean, if there's no book, you got nothing to promote. Okay. But once you know this is what you're going to do, make this book, you got to interest people. Okay. If you've never seen a Brian Polito promotional video for one of his Lady Death campaigns, go watch it and educate yourself. That's how you do it.
I'll throw you another person's promotional video, Sam Quinnen's promotional video.
I love Sam.
For 47 Furious Tales, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We have promoted Sam since the day I met Sam. 47 Furious Tales 1. A friend of mine, Raj, had him send a couple copies of number 1 to me when it first came out. And I opened the book, and the first page I opened it to was the Graveyard of the 47 Ronin that Alexia drew. And I was like, I'm a fan. Okay, where do I sign up? Who are these people? And, promoted the heck out of everything Sam's done ever since. Love that dude. And he's also my go-to guy. When people come to me with questions about a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, the campaign itself, setting it up, stuff like that, that's my go-to guy. Go ask Sam. If anybody knows, Sam knows. And he's the best guy out there. He's totally personable. He'll answer everybody's questions. He's helpful. He's exactly the kind of people that we love in this family.
There are a few people like that. Obviously there's certain people who have been good to me, collectively, and so I completely get it in a lot of ways. And there are a bunch of people in comics like that, and then there's a bunch of people who are bad, but we don't have to talk about the bad. We're not talking about the bad people here. I have one enemy in comics, and that person knows who they are.
I don't have any enemies. I have people I left behind, but
yeah.
I do not go out and talk about people publicly. I leave them behind. They might bring me up again in a couple months or a couple years, or there's a couple people come out the woodwork on a regular basis every couple months, and they got something to say about something I'm doing, and it's like, it's just the speed bump, bro. Boom, keep right on going. You know what I mean? But I don't bring this. don't bring these people up. I don't give that kind of stuff airtime.
Yeah. So no, I agree. In which that I feel, and I'm very honest about this, where I feel like there are a few issues that need to be publicly addressed in comics, but there's a concept called professional comic writer, a professional artist, a professional wrestler. You notice the word here in the common word professional. I am a professional podcaster where I am treating this as a professional gig. There are plenty of people who have problems within the podcast world because they don't show up and they say they're going to be there and they do it 3, 4, 5 times, but you don't see me mentioning their names publicly because that's not a professional statement. Now, if you publicly attack me, I'm going to respond and defend myself publicly. But if you call me out privately, unless that conversation needs to become public, that conversation won't become public.
I just, like I say, I mean, mainly if somebody comes at me, I'll give you my one. This is my response to that. And then if you double down on dumb or whatever and want to continue it, it's like I just leave you behind. I don't have time for that. We're trying to promote comics and have fun. You can ask every ex-girlfriend I've ever had. As soon as it quits being fun, I'm out. And one of them could be watching for right now. One of them, two of them could be watching right now. I'm just saying, they're in my group. They're people I, still interact with. They're still good friends of mine. But they would tell you, as soon as it quits being fun, Pop's nowhere to be found. I like fun. I'm trying to go out. Let me give you an example, Andrew. There are people that spend the last 10 minutes of their life laying in a hospital bed, knowing they're on their way out, right? How do you want to spend that last 10 minutes if that guy's you? Do you want to spend that last 10 minutes going, life sucks so bad. Everybody was so mean to me. Or do you want to just go, man, I had so much fun. I got to do this. I got to do that. I met some awesome freaking people. As an old man, my life totally changed directions and I became this comic entity. I didn't even know how this shit happened, dude. You know what I mean?
So let's even talk about that and have
fun.
Just have fun. So obviously, I enjoy what I do in comics because I buy and sell comics on eBay, and I make money, and then I invest my money, which is my other hobby, and I thoroughly enjoy that because I love.
What's the other hobby? Go ahead.
No, I love investing as an individual, and then I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy researching like stocks and money and the economy. It just fascinates me. And so I but I like buying and selling comics on eBay. And I also like the fact that I'm holding a cool book, and I know that in 2 years from now I'm going to sell it, but I get to hold on to that book and care for that book for 2 years, and then I get to pass it on to somebody else. And it sounds bizarre when you say it that way, and unless you've done it, it's hard to explain. But I'm a caretaker of that product for 2-3 years, or sometimes I'm for 10 years, and then I'm like, okay, my time with this thing has gone, and it's off to a new home. It's off to a loving home. But then
stuff ain't going nowhere until I'm gone, and they can figure out what to do with it after that.
No, but you can understand the concept, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've bought and sold stuff on eBay before. It's like when eBay first started, I used to do a lot of, when it first came out, we did a lot of stuff. Got a lot of Pokemon, sold a whole bunch of stuff like that, and made money back in the day. But I'm a collector. There's some of that stuff that I gave up back then that I wish I still had my hands on.
There are books that I said to my mom, and I remember saying, I said, the reason why a $25 book is going for $200 is because I will never see this book ever again. And I'm okay with that because it's going to something else that's important, where it's going to my other hobby, and I love it. But you mentioned something about fun, and I'm curious about this because when I read a comic, I'm right now reading Sonic the Hedgehog, the IDW books. They are a blast to read. And I'm reading on Comixology, so hopefully nobody will attack me on that. It's just easier and cheaper, and I have an iPad. So corporate America, I guess that's what I am. But
see, you didn't have to give none of that up. See, you don't have to give them ammo, Andrew.
Hey. Amazon gets me my digital books dirt cheap, and I'm a broke motherfucker too. So if I could pay $6.37 and read 300 comics a month, that's a brilliant deal. If anybody can beat that deal, you have me as a customer. That's the open challenge.
I tell you straight up, I promote people on. I don't care what platform they're on. If their product looks good and I have faith that they fulfill and whatnot, I promote them. I don't care if it's IGG or Kickstarter.
I'm a huge Ian Flynn fan. I'm a huge Ian Flynn fan, and he's writing Sonic the Hedgehog. But the idea is that, and going back to the premise of the question, is that I just find Sonic the Hedgehog to be a fun book, and the world is hard enough. Taking politics, taking what's going on in the world. I mean, what happened in Brooklyn today was horrendous, and I'm living in Connecticut, so the world's a hard enough place as it is. And when I read comics or watch anime, I want to escape and I want to have a good time. When I'm reading Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm taken out of a messed up world and I'm taken to a fun, enjoyable world. And I'm curious how you feel, because I feel certain people in comics, I have to create a message. I have to drive a point home. I have to get political. I have to change the perspective versus saying, I just want to have a blast and tell a fun story. I'm like, man, my day was rough, and I just read this book, and I'm laughing on the floor, and that's kind of what I think is missing to some degree.
That's what I want to happen when you read the Cromniverse. Only I want it to happen 13 different times. I want you to fall out laughing at each story, and I kind of made sure that the people doing the stories understand this is supposed to be fun. I want you guys to have fun, which everybody, when you're working with a crowd of people like this, and they're all from different backgrounds and different cliques and groups or whatever in the comic world, and they're all coming together and working together, and I love it. And it's the same with CromCon. You got people from Comicsgate, you got just regular people, you got people that are left leaning, and I have no problem letting you know that, but they all come to the show together and nobody gives anybody a hard time.
This is my question, because obviously I am not affiliated with any group. I'm here to talk, and I will interview anybody. I've had Luke Stone on. I've had Travis Gibb on.
They used to work together.
I have Art Fisher on. I have a bunch of other people on, and the whole thing. And then I have a bunch of wrestlers on. And my whole thing is that I'm at the stage where, look, I don't have a problem with people in Comicsgate, and I don't have people who are on the other side of the aisle either. I have a problem with people who I feel are disrespectful to me, or maybe have an attitude and don't exactly treat me the right way, and view me being on my show when they ask to be on as a chore. And that bothers me, and that's happened a lot more. And I have certain expectations when you're a guest on my show, that you should come prepared and you should have at least some level of energy. And I get people have bad days, but there's certain people who also only hit me up when they need an interview. If you want to be on my show, there's like 5 ways how to get on. And the easiest way is say hi when you don't need something. Say, hey, Andrew, how's your day? Or better yet, say, I really like that interview you did with so-and-so. Chances are I'm going to respond a fuck ton better. Then, or say, hey, I saw this picture of this cover. I know you're a Zenescope fan. Thought you look so awesome. I'm like, oh, dude, I have that book. It's a great book. You should read it. Strike up a conversation with me, because guess what? The chances is that you're building a relationship. Somebody who paid to be on my show sent me his board game for free, and a graphic novel, and then 2 expansion packs. You don't think we don't have a relationship now? You don't think that relationship is not going to exceed for the next 10 years? So if you have a comic book and you want a relationship with me, there's 15 ways. And I'm not saying you got to go send me a physical book. I do appreciate it, though, just saying, everybody. But it's the idea that, and so I'm curious how you feel about that, because I feel relationships are very important right now in comics.
Yeah. Look, I have talked to most all them people you just mentioned. Okay. I like Hart. Hart's a good friend of mine. I feel that Hart's a friend of mine. Frank Forte, all these, all these guys. And then um, I myself, okay, last year about this time, maybe a little earlier in the year, um, I met. Well, I mean, I met some people from Comicsgate, and they became good friends of mine. And they were putting out fun comics. And the more people I met in CG, the more fun comics I encountered, and less message. Okay, you know what I mean? Less of the message you were talking about. It's like they weren't writing a story that was the message. There might have been a message in the story, but the story wasn't the message. It was fun comic books again. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of stuck now. I have to like pay attention to these. And then you've got other people like Raven with Cookies and Scream, and I mean there are so many killer kids books that I'm a sucker for those because four grandkids in the house, and then comic books for kids. I'm a sponsor of the comicbooksforkids.org, and I encourage people with kids comics to set up a tier that also puts a comic book in the hospital for a kid. You know, us as fans, we like tiers like that where we buy the book for ourselves, but we can also buy one to donate. You know what I mean? So I encourage tiers like that. I have a good relationship with the people at Comic Books for Kids. This thing is all just, I mean, it's been I'll be honest, this snowball rolled downhill. It went way beyond my abilities. Okay. Without my co-hosts and the people that do all my um, graphics and videos, okay, like the intros, and I don't do all this stuff. I don't know how to do none of this. This is all people that just do stuff out of the kindness of their heart because the show is about promoting indies and they want to help the show to look professional, like you were talking about. They don't want me just coming out here they wanted it to have a real feel. And the same thing with the book. We got Pedro on, come forward. I want to do some animation for your trailer. Okay. I didn't pay Pedro. I told him, no, everybody, if we make some money, everybody's gonna get something. I'm not I'm not the lion's share of this. We all get the same thing, you know. So that was the other thing. It was like everybody knew that I can't pay you. But if this takes off and and it does well, everybody's gonna get the same amount of money. No matter
It's
at the end.
also the idea that, and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes you take more of an equity position than or a shared pot position. Not the puff pot. I want to make that crystal clear. Except that's fun to share too.
We do that. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know that I didn't want to be the guy getting the lion's share. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like I'm trying to make money off all you guys' work,
But even to talk about
you
that,
know.
because obviously I ran a Kickstarter for this show, and the reason why is that, and I'm very upfront about it, is that well I needed money to fund it and to keep it going and to reduce my costs. I had a sponsor, and well they decided to that we were separated ways, but I'm allowed to compete and stay in the game for another year at very little cost to myself, which is very helpful, and then I'll find another sponsor at some point and it'll be taken care of. But I'm not making any money from this show at the moment. I think I'm profitable. I'm not losing money now, but this is the first time in 10 years that I haven't lost money on my shows, which is so it took me 10 years to get here. Um, and I'm going to get another year because I got $300 in the bank and StreamYard's $240 every single year. So it's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is that if I believe that sometimes you take shared pop positions and you take the idea saying, hey, look, this is a shit deal for everybody. But if we do well this round and then we come back for issue 2 or issue 3, well, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, maybe we're still under a shared pop position. But if we did 8,500, the next round we're going to do 11,000. And then
Yeah.
there's more and more and more. And then what winds up happening is that now you have seed money that helps to cover things. And that's the other thing, too, is that either the second or third round, and that sometimes happens with a first book, because there's no other way around the problem.
And this is the crazy part. Okay. Um, I already have people that are working on stories for the next one. This one ain't funded yet, and I have people working on stories for the next one. You see what I'm saying? Everybody loves this idea. Everybody working on it loves this idea and this concept. Okay, they're all having fun, and that's all I ask them: have fun. You know, give me your fun project, not your I got to get this done by this date project. Have fun. That's why we've had such a wide, we started talking about this a long time ago. We're just now getting close to the deadline. But I've seen work from everybody. I know everybody's working on it. I know everybody's um, on schedule. Okay. So I feel good about it. And then, like I said, every day that goes by, there's either somebody that's asking how they can be involved. Can I get a story in? Can I do a print? Can I do a bookmark? But there's also a fan art contest. Okay. One of the tiers is fan art ash can. And the top three, the winner of the fan art contest is going to get the cover of the ash can. Second place gets the back cover, and third place gets the inside, first page. And then the next 11 people will get the rest of the pages. It'll fill out. The top 14 people in the contest get to be in the ash can. And so far, some of the art has been amazing. Like, I mean, I've seen some really good stuff. If you go to Twitter and just hashtag Cromniverse, you'll see some of the art for the ash can. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be good. Lee Reese did a couple pieces. He did 2 pieces, and we took one of them. We're going to use it in the campaign somehow. It was like, nah, yeah, you might win the fan art contest still, but one of these is actually, we're going to use it on something, a stretch goal or backer reward or something. It was both the pieces were amazing. I told Anthony, pick one. We're using one in the campaign. The other one can be in the fan art contest. Just have fun, everybody. That's all we try to do around here.
Because it's very interesting because obviously this is something that I think is just forgotten is to have fun with comics. I mean, obviously there's money to be made in comics, and I make money by buying and selling comics on eBay. Right. And I enjoy that, but that's a different science completely. Right.
And we do have a comic related marketplace too, right? We do have a sister group for direct sales and for putting stuff up that you have for sale.
So I love being on eBay because unfortunately, just due to experience, I find that there are very shady people on the internet.
No, I mean, you put your links to your eBay right in the group so people can just go buy it off eBay. You see what I'm saying? It's
like, I should totally hit you up. You're going to have to send me that
link. It's a direct sales group. I don't care if you're doing auctions. I don't care what you do. If you do direct sales, we have a group for you too, but the madness we try to keep to promotion and networking. Like I'll tell people, don't put pricing. You can say, hey, I do commissions and blah, blah, blah. Just don't put your pricing. If people want to know, they'll hit you up and they'll ask you how much. Keep the madness and networking and promotion group. But if you really got some direct sales, we got a group for you too.
I'm sure you're going to share that to me after we're done.
Related marketplace, man. It's just another CRM. It's another Crom network.
Learning something every day, guys. Learning something every day. Yeah, no. And I think it's great about fun. And obviously, you got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, the ash can is up there, and I think the art contest is still open, right?
Are you a heavy metal fan? Yeah, the art contest is open till May 10th. You can get an entry in all the way up to May 10th. You're a heavy metal fan, right?
It depends. If we're talking Rusty Gilligan, yes. But then sorry, it's too easy. Let me explain heavy metal. So I thoroughly enjoy heavy metal, and I think wow, who did like Crystal Gems, that song? Sinatri is his name. He had a what?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a song, and then it became a comic and heavy metal. I actually just ordered like 3 weeks ago that book Raw that's coming out of heavy metal. So I don't read heavy metal religiously, but like I read like 8 issues a year.
Yeah, I meant the music. You like heavy metal, right?
Oh yeah. That too.
You like Iron Maiden?
Yeah. I like some Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Check out that C cover of the Enter the Cromniverse book.
We're gonna get to the C cover. I have pictures here. We're going piece by piece here. Like,
yeah.
What type of show do you think I am, man? Seriously, what type of show do you think I am? Like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? You know?
I do know who you are. One thing though, I never have noticed how long do your interviews last? I mean, do you usually go an hour? Do you usually go 2 hours?
It's like an hour 20 usually, but it depends. Like,
yeah, well, see, that was one of the things I have this issue with. There's so much to talk about in this campaign. People have me out for the hour show, and it's like by the time the hour's over, I still ain't got halfway through this stuff.
we have all the time in the world. So I have no limit on how long I can go, and that's just how I run my show. Usually I did an interview earlier today with Greg Boat, and that's why I'm not doing one tonight, because more than 2, my voice gets shot. And I like to speak, and so we got all the time in the world to talk about your project. So, but yeah. We obviously the digital. So if you just want the book digitally, you don't want to pay for shipping because you live in Australia or you live in China or you live in Brazil, and you just don't want to deal with international shipping. Digital's for you. And then we're going to get to the covers, because that's kind of what I want to talk about.
I was just going to say though, for the international, we don't have an international tier, and this is why. I don't want to get 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, it's time to fulfill, and either shipping has gone way down or gone way up. Okay. At the end of the campaign, if you live in Australia, you want the book, you hit me up, you hit RJ up, we'll send you the book for exactly what it costs to send you the book. I'm not going to make $10. I'm not going to take it in the ass for $10. You see what I'm saying? I have no problem getting them out internationally. I just want everybody to know it's going to be like that. Exactly.
Let me ask you a question. So obviously, if somebody lives in Australia, because this is the concern, I think, and this would be my concern from international shipping on the other end, is that I want to support and I want some of the stretch goals, right? So how does that work? Because I don't want to be screwed out of stretch goals, but like I also want the book. So how does that exactly work with you?
Well, I don't figure I'm going to have like 180 people from overseas I'm going to have to deal with. So I can,
Now I really want to get you 180 people just to put you in that situation. Like,
but you know what I'm saying? RJ has to deal with all that. Logistics is his problem.
No, but it's a legit question, because
basically, I'm going to make sure that we get enough. I mean, already we planned on printing way more books than we need, and it's reflected in the fixed goal. Okay, because I plan on people coming to me later and going, "Hey, yo, I missed out. I want that book." So, I mean, bookmarks, stuff like that, we'll probably make sure that we have enough to accommodate with certain things. Okay, not everything, because some of it's going to be like a backer reward goal, like the first, when we get to 50 backers, we're going to probably throw something out, a bookmark or something, just for those first 50 backers. Then when we get to 75 backers, we're going to do something for the first 75 backers. You see what I'm saying? So to me, backer count is way more important than how much money is made. And that's just because, to me, word of mouth sells books. If you get it in your hand and you like it, what do? You tell a friend. Maybe you tell 2 friends. If you really like it, you might tell 3. And one of them might buy this book next time. That's my thing. Okay, word of mouth means so much more to me than how much money we made off each person or whatever.
Yeah, I agree, in which that obviously one of the things that I did 38 backers on my Kickstarter. I raised $855. I was pissed just because I didn't get to 40. But when I do come back for season 4 of the show, the goal is 60 backers. And so I'd be like, oh, you only want 60 backers. Well, you know what is, that's a big deal for me, because that means 60 people want to be part of my project. And then after, for season 5, the goal would be 80. and then it would be 100. And then what you hope for is that maybe when you get to season 7 or 8, maybe I won't need to be on Kickstarter because I'll have a better deal somewhere else. Or conversely, maybe I'll be on Kickstarter, the goal will be 500, and then I want to be sold out and raise $1,500, and it's just a cushion, and it just becomes a pre-order form, essentially. But the goal is that those people are at least aware, and they now.
You want to say hi?
It's so cute.
Oh, come here. You want to say hi? Come here. What, dude? Where'd you go? Come back over here. What? Come here. Oh, I know you're listening. Come here. That's Rocky. He's the vocal one of the two. The one that talks the most and the loudest, that's Rocky.
I would bring Hope out, my dog, but she'll bark and then it'll create like an international incident.
Oh, yeah.
And
See? He's always listening too. Always.
But I definitely think that backer count is way more important than funding, because obviously I want as many people to support my show financially, as well as just if you back it, I now can send you an update. I can now send you, I don't know how Indiegogo works exactly, but Kickstarter works, where you can send an update and then I say, hey, I just dropped this amazing interview with so-and-so. Or
I do link swaps with people. I put like the link to your book or your project in my updates, and I'll be below, check this out. And then it goes out to all the people on my email list to go check out your book. And then he does the same thing on his campaign about my book, right? I do that with anybody that wants to, okay? Because again, bouncing fan bases off each other. This is how everybody grows. You know, the guy that does Infinitales, his fans wouldn't know anything about my book if he wasn't over there on his updates telling everybody, hey, go check out Pop's book. You know, and vice versa. And if you do it with enough people, the circle, you know, the possibilities are endless. How big you can be, you just got to put in the work.
So to even talk about that, because one of the things that's fascinating, and I'm curious your opinion on this as well, is that obviously I don't back every person I interview. You know, I wish I could. I'm also very selective. I also, people say, oh, you give me $1, I'll give you $1. And that's fine and dandy. So like, I'll give an example. If you have friends who sort of do that, like I know a bunch of people that I'll throw them a buck, they'll throw me $1. It's just one of those things, but it really doesn't help in my opinion, because
I'm not a fan of the dollar. Okay. I think if somebody throws $5 at you or whatever, then you should give them something in return. You know what I mean? So that's when you start talking about the digital. Okay. I make it available. I'd rather you bought a copy of the digital. And then if you like it, you might come back and hit me up wanting one of them books. You see what I'm saying? But I'd rather you actually got a copy of. I'd rather you actually read some of this than just throw money at it.
So for me, my mindset thing was, it was a $6 postcard, which probably was a little too expensive. It should have been more like $5, because my podcast was completely digital. So, you know, a guaranteed guest spot. And the only reason why I was a guaranteed guest spot is because I do a lot of interviews. And unfortunately, in season 2 was a good example. I did 172, and I just don't have the stomach to get everybody in. And you know, as I have access to certain people, just like you have access to certain people. And well, you know, why the fuck not when I want to do that? And then I also have live reads. And so that's something that I'm smart about, where that's the other thing too. And so I had a cheap physical goal, essentially, because somebody could support this project for $6. And well, you know, you're helping making something happen. But when I run into my comic project, you know, I'm obviously going to have digital. I'm going to have some other stuff. And then I'm going to have other, you know, things that are like maybe like a $10 metal card of cover art, for instance, or a really cool piece that might be super limited to like 50. So obviously I understand having different price goals. in there as well, because not everybody can afford a $30 book or a $40 book, and not everybody wants a book. You know, certain people I know have a big library, and they're like, "Hey,
I,
you
I
know,
had my I had my campaign manager cussing me out. I was trying to give this book away. I didn't realize what it cost to print a 100 page book, and it's like I was trying to give a really good price point to the point where I'd have been taken in the ass. Anthony's like, "Yo, we can't give it away, dude. You got it. You got to, And when I started looking around what it cost to print, for full color and blah blah blah, and it was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay, you're right. We can't sell it for. But man, I wanted to. I wanted to give this book away.
So what I've heard a lot of people say, look, if I could, I would do this entire thing for free because I just love comics, or I would do it for cost. Like one of the things is that my entire, StreamYard stuff and running my podcast is not cheap. It's not. You know, if somebody said to me, and there was some guy who had a decent amount of money and said, look, I love your show. I listen to your show every week. If I give you $1,000, would that mean that you wouldn't have to be on Kickstarter? I would absolutely take that deal in a heartbeat. Because $1,000 means I don't have to ask people for money, and I can just run the show the way I want to run this show. And if you said, look, you could take outside sponsors, but you don't have to do Kickstarter anymore, that would be fantastic for me. Because again, my costs are dirt cheap, but again, I can't, as you put it, take it in the ass.
Yeah, this is the Bill Moss piece. He did this for me because I was supporting his campaign, and he just drew a piece of art for me, right? And after I got the piece of art, I was like, damn, this is beautiful. Hey, Bill, can we use this on the inside front cover for the table of contents? Because it's got Crom in it, right? You see the reflection of the sword?
I see it. I see it. I see it.
See, Crom's in the reflection of the sword, right? It was like, and Bill was just so cool. He's like, yeah, man, you can. But this piece of art that he sent me, I can't include it in the campaign because he did that for me as a gift to me. And that's like, it wasn't something he did for the campaign, but then he let us use it in the campaign. So that was cool. I love Bill. I love Thomas. Those guys, Don Chin, man, Jim O'Reilly, these guys are all so nice. And I mean that seriously, like just nice people, right? I couldn't do enough to help them promote their books. Not during that campaign and not in the future. I couldn't do enough. I love what those guys do. Nira X Reborn, that book we launched it on my channel, man, and it had like 58 backers like in the first hour. It was crazy. It's probably the most successful campaign we've done since Mojo Risen. It was fun. And man, I'd do anything for those guys. Anything.
Yeah, I need to find new friends who actually are nice people. God damn it. You know what it is? What I find is that unfortunately it's hard to find really nice people who say, hey, look, I want to support your project, I want to support your show. And it's weird where I think, and this is just my opinion, where I think people take media for granted. I really do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think it's a real problem where, I mean, I think I had one of my best interviews out of the entire year, earlier today. And I don't think people understand how much work goes into it. I mean, I could tell you what I was doing last night, that I was cutting up a Steph Wilson interview and micro contenting it. And that took like 3 hours to do. And some of it's coming out on YouTube and some of it's going to be out on Instagram. But I don't think people appreciate how complicated media is, and then having those clips and having that stuff. And it's unfortunate because I think if people actually gave a fuck and said, oh shit, you actually promote the fuck out of this, and then you're, trying to get my book sold and then trying to get every other book I put out there sold as well, because this interview doesn't just end after your campaign's over.
Right.
I'm going to be pushing this thing out on a cycle every single year or multiple times a year. in multiple things like YouTube and through Rumble and through a variety of other stuff. And then when it hits the podcast realm, I mean, I'm going to push it like crazy out. So,
Right.
and while your campaign might not be running, your next campaign will be. So it's unfortunate, but that's a digression. Do you want to talk about cover A here?
Eric Hodson. You guys may know him as the creator of the Dreaded Dinosaur Man. And the Dreaded Dinosaur Man is obviously the redheaded dude there. But the other guy, I don't know if you're familiar with a book called Only Death Can Save Us by Russ Leach. But he
I do know that book actually.
Yes, he loaned us a demon from his universe as well for this story. So that actual story is actually a triple crossover of 3 different IPs. So that's why that one's getting the A cover, because it's like Russ, Eric, and Crom. 3 different IPs coming together. So Eric got the A cover. Looks good. Manny Soto, I told you, he's one of the guys that's been around forever in the madness, helps us draw, or has drawn a lot of the graphics that we use, the happy birthday graphic and all that stuff. That's all stuff Manny drew, and he is also doing the art for the Paul Gomez Bushibu Circus story. So you got Manny's going to be all over this book, the same with Edwin. Edwin's doing some colors, doing some art and colors. He did this, the Iron Maiden Eddie cover, okay? But he also is doing, I think, the colors for Bushibu Circus, and he's doing the art and colors for the 6-Gun Gorilla book or story in this campaign. So Edwin's going to be all over the place in this thing too. And the 4th cover, this one is a local guy named Daniel Monroe. He has a PBS show called Captain Wallace. He has a kids charity, and I kind of unmothballed one of his IPs called Ye Gods, and kind of got him rolling again. He's actually doing a Ye Gods story of his own, as well as doing a Ye Gods crossover. And he's going to be hand painting this cover over the next couple of weeks. We'll be showing it live as it's being done. So I'd just go ahead and back this one now, not wait, because I mean, you're going to get to see it. You're going to get to see it come to life right here live as he's painting it. And, he's a great, his story's great. His Ye Gods book it's funny. Okay. It's a funny take on Hercules, Thor, it's humor. Okay. So Crom and that obviously fit right in. He gave me a little synopsis. Crom, what is something about Crom knocking on the door of the universe next, or falls into the universe next door, and epic partying ensues. So, that one I figure might be one of them PG-13 stories.
And there's some other stuff that's also in here. There's the wall tapestry. That sort
yes. Now, Edwin did that art too a long time ago, and we were going to use it for the back of a tarot card set, and probably still will. But it was also the perfect piece of art for the tapestry, and that's an actual tapestry. That's the first one, and it's beautiful. It's hanging on Anthony's wall right now, so you can get those. And you see that little. Oh, there you go, the Jim O'Reilly art.
Oh, yeah, right there. Sorry.
This is the Steranko Chromage, okay? And for everybody that signed up, all the early signups and back the book at a physical tier, you'll get a print of this. But the original art is also up on the campaign for sale, and I have both pieces right here. I think, like right here. Where you at? Right. Yeah, somewhere in here. I got so much original art right here. Oh, no, none of it. None of that is what I was looking for.
These are not the drones you're looking for.
There it is. That's the Crom we're looking for. Pencils, and inks. And you get these and a book. Or I don't even know what they put them up there for because if nobody gets them, I get them. Woohoo! You know.
So this is,
What
and
can I
then
say?
obviously the sneakers, which we sort of spoke about, and then there's also the idea where I think Jim is doing a bust. I think it's a one of
Yes.
one, right?
Yes, a one of one bust of Crom. And the shoes were there will be 12 pairs if 12 pairs are ordered. Obviously, he'll make up to 12 pairs. Um,
And then also there's sketch cards done by I think Allison. Rich is doing one, Tank is doing one, and then
no, they're
Rusty's doing.
five. Allison's doing three. Rusty's doing three. Tank and Rich are doing five. So
So
you know,
that's what I meant, everybody. That's what I meant. But you could get one or one of the sketch
that's
cards from one of them.
$60 gets you a card and a book, and all
And
all the goodies that come with it. Whatever.
And then obviously getting drawn in is also on the table. And then
each story has a draw into it.
and then there's also all four covers where you just get a package deal for all four covers because you don't know which one you want. So you get all four covers. Also, you have a retail pack.
Thomas Doherty, he hit me up. He goes, "Hey man, can you make a tier with all four covers?" Okay. So we did, and he ordered it right away. So we're open to the fans. Whatever you want, man, we'll make it happen.
Let's actually talk about that because that's fascinating. Where I know on Kickstarter you could add tiers, and I think on Indiegogo you can as well. And that's an interesting concept where it's like, what do you want as a fan? Because I don't know what somebody technically wants for my podcast per se. And obviously, next time I'm going to run for my show, which is probably going to be in November, I'm going to legitimately ask, saying, hey, what do you guys want as far as media is concerned? And even with, my book that I'm going to be launching, depending on funds, I'm going to be asking, saying, look, what do you want? Like, if there's something you want, why don't you tell me what you want? And then if I can get it to you, I'm going to get it, or I'm going to figure out a way how to get something similar. Somebody says, look, I love metal cards, and 30 people want a set of metal cards. Why wouldn't I make a metal card set of my books?
Exactly.
Because
it's a Spice Girl vibe. It's a tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll make sure you freaking get it.
Because I believe in customer service to a degree. So for instance, you say, I want J. Scott Campbell on your book. I'm gonna be like, well, good luck. But
hit him up put in a good word for me when you get him, all right?
hey, if somebody said, I'll give you $10,000 if you get J. Scott Campbell. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. But the idea is that if somebody says, look, I want some fun, out of the norm covers, or I want a Steph Wilson cover, and 30 people want a Steph Wilson cover, naturally I'm going to hit up Steph Wilson for a cover because that makes sense. Or if somebody says, look, I love Zenoscope work. Get me a bunch of Zenoscope cover artists in your project because that makes sense. And so I am willing to say, hey, look, whatever you want, I'm going to try to get. Now, obviously, I also have ideas and I understand my customer base in my eBay store. So my Kickstarter, when I build that out, I have a secondary / third terry distribution position. And so that's very important for me as well, where there are certain artists that I'm looking at because I know they're going to connect in my other audience. So how do you balance that? Because that's a real tricky thing because obviously fans are the bread and butter of any Kickstarter, any crowdfunding, any organization by nature. I mean, my fans pay my bills more or less and get me viewership.
Without them, there is no anything really. I mean, you think about it, we have to have. See, that's one of the things. I am a fan. I was a fan before I was doing any of this, and I try to look at all this stuff from a fan's point of view, especially cost, shipping, all this kind of stuff. Because, as I stated earlier, I'm a broke ass. Okay, so when it came to shipping, I was like, okay, look, I'm looking at RJ, and RJ at Critical Blast is handling fulfillment for people and actually cutting their shipping costs. I'm going to RJ to handle my fulfillment. It's that simple. He's cutting costs off it for the fans. See what I'm saying? It's like I totally want to make this as fan friendly as possible. I want to give the fans what they want. At the same time, I want to make it all cost effective. Okay. Um, I have some really cool stretch goals planned. They're not going to be cheap, but they're not happening unless we get funded and we get to the first one. And we've talked about that, the trading card set where we have, the Daphne Lage art and whatnot. But I have other plans. Um, I don't know if you saw Toro Tales by Brian Bernard. Brian Menard. He had a campaign that didn't fund recently, but one of the perks or stretch goals was a little character that was made out of wire and beads of one of his IPs, Canadian Shield, right? And it was a little red and white bead thing, and it had a little shield, right? And it was like cool. I was like, that's neat. What those things really are, though, are roach clips. They actually come with the clip. Okay. So I'm like, okay, Crom, steals weed, roach clips. How about we make some of those and we just leave the clip on? Okay, that's one of our stretch goal plans is a Crom roach clip. Okay. Another one of our stretch goal plans is custom Crom rolling papers. Cromniverse rolling papers with the Cromniverse packaging. And the Vic King trading card that we're talking about, Death Dealer, right? Frazetta?
Yeah. I know.
Okay, you've never heard of the Dank Dealer, though, right?
No.
Okay, kick that guy off the horse and put Crom on it. Okay, and you have the Dank Dealer. That's going to be the packaging for the rolling papers as well.
So let's even talk about that a little bit, because this is where things get, I think, very interesting. Is that obviously having interesting stretch goals, because at this stage in crowdfunding, crowdfunding is almost a novelty in a lot of ways. It is very much a right, not a privilege. And I'm going to say something very, very, very messed up. I find going into a comic shop to be more of a privilege. Or no. The crowdfunding is more of a privilege than a right. I find going into a comic shop and expecting comics to be there to be a right, to be more along the idea of how things are done traditionally and where my comics should be bought from, if that makes any sense.
I find that's how we did it most of our lives,
And I find that Kickstarter is more of a novelty and it's more of a privilege than a right. So and that's not saying one's better than the other, but that's just how I view it. And so at this stage, I'll back a Kickstarter and Indiegogo because I'm like, okay, I like the book, or it's affordable, or you're my friend. Like I back Shotgun Samurai by Dashiell, and I can't say his last name because I think the concept is just brilliant. It's
up behind the quaff.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I got it. I like it. It was a good book.
But I've known Dashiell for a while. He was one of my early guests when I started, and I thought his comic was brilliant, and I was really happy that he funded it. And really cool thing, and I added some like trading cards on because it's cool what he did. Mm-hmm. But my whole thing is that I back it primarily because I like the concept, but I get to the point saying, okay, cool. What are you offering me beyond just the book? Because at this stage, I can go on Kickstarter and find 50 books that are all the same caliber, all interest me, and are all fascinating. What are you offering me more? And I'm not going to put anybody on blast here publicly, but I'm like, whose book is offering me more? Whose book is offering me a better stretch goal? Who is offering me something on the first day that they're not offering me on that other book? Right. And so that's a very interesting thing. And people say, oh, I have enough tchotchkes. Bullshit. Okay? You got to offer me something. If you offer me a metal card, you offer me a 9x6 print, you offer me a metal book card, you offer me an inflatable shark toy, you offer me a pin toy. I mean, pins. Seriously, like, I am a sucker for metal cards. I love metal cards. I'm a Zenescope guy. On my campaign, I produced a metal card for a reason, because I'm a fan of them. You put a metal card on your campaign, well, I'm interested now. Now I'm
I like the metal bookmarks. Have you seen the metal bookmarks?
I like those
the metal bookmarks. I love them.
Like the shiny ones. Oh, they're great.
Dude. This is the one from Tall Tales from JD's. Come on, give me a good picture of it. There you go. And that's metal. You know. But yeah, I like these, man. These are cool.
I mean, I use fairy metal for my metal cards, and they're great. And my whole thing is that like there has to be something that distinguishes your project, and then not your project in the sense that we're talking about your project, but any project.
Any project, yeah. You want something that's unique, something that makes people go, "Oh, I ain't seen that before." And that's all I've been trying to do is come up with things that are either unique or rare. Okay, somebody's probably done it before, like the shoes. Somebody might have done shoes before. I never seen it. Okay, never seen it. But you can also, if you've been paying attention to any of my streams over the last week or so, you can watch my Crom shoes being made as well, and you can see the actual work this guy puts into them. Those Mike Barron shoes, before he put them in the box, he was on a stream with me. Nick was. And he took those shoes and he went, twisty, twisty, bendy, bendy, twisty, twisty, bendy, bendy. No cracks at all. They're made to be worn. The shoes are made to be worn, dude. Yeah. Mike Barron got them and he opened the box up and he tried them on live on stream. Those Punisher shoes, he put them on his feet live on stream. It was cool as hell. It's like, yeah, I want to do stuff that's different, that's unique, that people go, Pops' campaign was pretty cool. Now, I admit it's my first attempt at any of this, and some of the ideas you throw at the wall don't stick. Or you might find out later on that you discarded an idea that you should have used. You know, I mean, I know how this is going to go, man. The best thing you can do is be as transparent as possible, show everybody everything you're doing, and have fun. And it'll gravitate, man. You know, people will gravitate to a good time. You know.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I could definitely tell you from my position is that obviously I know why I didn't do what I needed to do, where I needed to be on more shows during my campaign, and obviously it was a bad launch, but I'm actually going, if I'm launching in November for season 4, I'm actually gonna open up the pre-order stuff in August, and I'm starting like I'm gonna go 90 days hard.
Get you a good email list, a good pre-order sign up list, and come let people like me know you're doing it so that I can in turn tell RJ, hey, you need to go on, you need to get this guy in your show. And eventually we have a whole network of shows that we pass people around on. You know, it's like when you come on my show, I'm gonna tell you, you need to hit this guy up and this guy up and this guy up. And then when you go on their shows, they're gonna go, hey, you need to hit this guy up and this guy up. And before you know it, you have a month worth of scheduling you got covered.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and definitely I'm gearing up for it, and I'm starting 90 days ahead. And you know, because I now understand. And again, my goal is I'm actually gonna be doing something very interesting, and I haven't announced it, where I'm actually cutting my prices in half, where I'm actually going less, but I'm also only opening it up to like 60 people, but I'm raising my advertising rates on my show instead, because the whole thing with me as a guest is what has been a problem for me is that I book guests and then guests don't show up. And
I was going to during CromCon, I had that one time where like 3 people let me know the morning of the show they weren't going to be there, and I had an hour and a half to try and bill on a Sunday, like an hour before the show. And it was like, I was a little frustrated. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to start charging people a booking fee or something, because that's ridiculous trying to fill 3 spots on the morning of the show, you know. So I voiced my opinion. I was like, you know, I'm thinking about if I charged everybody who comes on the show $2 for their 30 minutes, my StreamYard would be paid every month and my phone would be paid every month. And that would guarantee that the show is going to go on next month. And that's all I was saying, $2, right? A booking fee. Just so that I know you got enough skin in the game that you're going to be there. You see what I'm saying? It's like you're not going to leave me hanging. You paid for this spot.
So
I caught so much flack for that, dude. That was the first time they tried to cancel me. Okay?
Let's talk about my story because this is fascinating. So I threw it out, and I was charging $20 to be on my show for a guaranteed guest spot. And I came in fucking hot. I'm like, I'm not playing anymore. And I mean, since January, I've come out swinging. And what people came after me, and man, people, and I was like, what's your problem? What's your problem? You have a book too. You're kickstarting. So you're attacking another person on Kickstarter who's funding a project, and you have the audacity. You do not belong. So if I get flack back, I'm going to start coming out swinging harder than anybody else. Because if you attack me and then you go and run a Kickstarter, you deserve all the criticism. And what's crazy is the people who attack me, I attacked them when they ran theirs. and it sent a different message because there are people who are watching, and I think people have woken up and realized that I'm not playing anymore. And this is blood.
I mean, I had been doing this for a year already. It wasn't like I didn't prove that I was going to be out here every month. I was going to be doing this. You know, on all the time I've been doing this, I have never missed a scheduled show. If I said I was going to be out here with somebody, I was here whether they were or not. Okay.
I wasn't that dedicated, but
I mean, I for me, it's my word. Okay. If I tell you can be on my show tomorrow at 11 a.m. and I can't be here tomorrow at 11 a.m., you can count on it that Richard Doc is going to be here and you're going to be on our show. You see what I'm saying? I'll go ask somebody else to make sure you get out here.
So
if I can't do it. That's how dedicated, you know. But I don't miss a show.
This is how I feel about that. Like somebody was supposed to be on my show tomorrow night and they canceled. Hey, my partner, his work called. And I'm like, okay, we could reschedule. It's not a big deal,
right.
You know, because they are the show and I'm just the host, and that's fine. And I've never had to reschedule. But if somebody has an emergency, I'm not going to hold it against you.
No, life happens. I totally get life happens, man. I just know that, if life happens to me, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to make sure that I got somebody covering what I said I was going to do. You see what I'm saying? That's what my word means to me, that if I tell you could be on my show tomorrow and I can't be here, Rich will be here and you'll be out here with Rich. And you'll be on the show. Somebody will be out here with you. You won't get left hanging or be told we got to reschedule or you see any of that. It's like I'm very, my word means something to me. Man.
So let's even talk about the pushback for you, because I got pushback and I just said, fuck it. I'm going all in. And I funded, and there was discussions with certain people and certain things. And then I'm sure there was other things behind my back. And I'm like, okay, but I funded. So at what point, because this is what I think, and I've been right about a lot of things. I think this is the future. I really do. I think the concept of pay to play is a real thing. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a lot more podcasts charging. I think you're going to see a lot more things happening. And I think that the monetization of this is changing. And
some of these people don't even know that they fall into the pay to play. Okay, you go on the show, the big shows that people get super chats, and somebody will do a super chat and they'll talk about their campaign, or they'll, go check out my campaign on a big channel super chat, right? You just paid to play, and you didn't even get to be on the show, but you just paid money to be seen, to just have your words on the chat be seen by all those people. That's paying to play, y'all. What's the difference in paying $5 for your super chat to be seen, or coming out on a show for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and getting
my average interview is an hour and a half. So if you give me $20, you're getting 90 minutes. You're getting 90 minutes. That's it, plus it's permanent.
That's
episodes don't come down. I share it out.
another thing. That's what I mean. You get replay views. You get, it's not like it goes away. Not only that, if you make a good impression on the podcaster, he's probably going to make sure that you come back. And when you have that next campaign, he's going to be promoting the hell out of it because you were nice to him.
What people don't understand is that every link, so your link is in the description for your project. You know what that link happens? That link follows onto YouTube. That link follows into the podcast notes.
Yeah.
That link does not leave this episode. And the only time this link will leave this episode is when I come up and cut it into micro content, because it links back to the YouTube episode where your link is. It's because it doesn't make sense for me to re-advertise your thing in a description when I want people to watch the full episode, which makes just better economic sense for me. But again, I'm driving traffic back to the full interview. And let's say that 3 years from now, nobody then can't buy from the Indiegogo, but they know who you are. They've gotten content. They say, oh, I know who Pops is. Oh, snap, he had this book and he's on the third one now. Chances are, it's driving and building your brand. But again, I think this is the future. And I think that people who attack somebody for media is dumb. I really do, because you're buying a permanent thing. I mean, I could give you an example. The last podcast on the left, it is $300 for 10,000 downloads as an advertisement for a 30-second read. My live read was $15 for life. Now, I'm not saying I have 10,000 downloads, but if I'm in the game long enough, I mean, what if I got 9,000 downloads and it costs you $15? I mean, you're paying practically nothing. And you just have to say, oh, I'll take a $15 risk. So the fact that I got attacked was absurd. And you know what it is, though? They didn't kill me. And here's the problem. I know everybody who attacked me. I know all of you were talking shit about me. And you know what it is? Welcome to the club, because guess what? If you fucking attack media, I speak to a lot of podcasters, and there's lists that go around. And in case you haven't figured it out, you're going to be found out. You're gonna. It's coming. I know. I speak to you, and we're gonna speak privately about people after. Not to put anybody on blast, but I'm gonna tell you exactly who attacked me, and a bunch of other people know exactly who attacked me.
Man, I can almost guarantee that I already know. I'm just saying. Okay. Like I said, I get canceled on a monthly basis, bro. Every month of the week before CromCon, somebody comes at me stupid and tries to get me off my game.
Well, I could tell you one person publicly who attacked me that you might appreciate. How do you feel about Flip?
About who?
Flip.
Who's Flip? I don't know Flip. Who's Flip?
Nick Gibson.
Oh. I was on a podcast recently where I did not know he was in the stream. And I popped in and he's like, oh, hi, Pops. And I was just like, yeah, no. What can
he was one who attacked me. His attack was funny, and he kept going until I dropped like a Baby Spice reference. It's a very funny response, and but he had no idea how I put up "Stop" by the Spice Girls, and he had no response to me. He had no response to that, and I was just waiting for him to go, because what I was gonna do is I had 50 songs all lined up. I had 50 songs, and I'm like, give me a reason. Just give me a fucking reason.
You had a whole playlist queued up for him? What?
Oh! I had a whole playlist, because me and my friends one night, I showed them his attack, and we sat around for 3 hours looking up music just to combat him. And people would have seen this in the entire chat and were like, man, you're going a little too hard on this one. And I had Stop, and then I had When Two Become One. I had a whole list, and I had a whole minus down track. Oh my God. It would have been the greatest thing, because 50 in, and then it was great. I had some Taylor Swift in there. It would have been amazing. So
yeah, that's one of them people that I left behind a long time ago. Okay, but see, that's how I deal with these people. I don't have time to argue with you and make myself look bad by dumbing myself down to get in an argument with somebody like that in the first place. Okay. I don't want bad reflections on the channel. I want people to know that they can come out here, show off their work, and people are going to be watching. You know what I mean? The only way we can guarantee that is if we're not assholes. You know, we got to be nice. If everybody's nice and
I'll give
everybody's
you an
having
example.
fun, everybody's stuff gets seen by everybody.
I'll be very honest about Nick. I got no problem saying this. If he's watching, be my guest. Here's how I view it. If he wants to come on this show and he wants to have a civil discussion with me about his book and about why he felt I was wrong, I am more than happy to have that discussion. But he has to understand that
It'll only cost him $20.
oh no! It won't cost him $20. It will cost him 40. So let me explain to you how I trolled him back. He started saying, "I'm looking for an artist." I said, "Hey man, come on my show for $20 anytime, man." He says, "I'm not paying you." I said, "You're right, 25. You're a good negotiator." And then it went on for like 15 things. Then he had like his friend trying to attack me. I said, "You know what, man? Why don't you come on for 50?" And oh my god, it was brutal because it proved the point.
If both of you are coming on, it's going to have to be 100.
No. But if he seriously wanted to come on and have a discussion, I said to him, if you want to come on my show and talk about this issue, why don't we do that? And not even for money. And he didn't want to do it because he knew that I would have went harder. I'm not an asshole. I speak very coherently. I would have said, "I hope you die. I hope screw you." And nothing like that would have happened.
I like you more all the time. You just keep talking, son. I think you are comics game. You just don't know it.
No. What would have happened is that we would have had a discussion, but I would have pushed back and I would have said, "You have to justify your argument here. If you didn't like the issue, why do you think that you can fund a book and that somebody else who's a creator can't also play?" And I think it would have been a productive conversation. I really do, because I think that I would have moved him. He probably would have moved me, and I think we would have went and found common ground. I really do, and I would love to have it. But he has to come in as an adult, and the way he responds is he responds as a child. It's like, "What do you want me to do? I'm 5 days into my campaign, man. Like, why are you attacking me? There's no good reason. If you got a preview page and I didn't launch yet, different discussion."
And if you got constructive criticism, seriously, if you got something that really helps somebody out, that's one thing. But to tell them or to point out all the things that your opinion is that they did wrong up to that point, rather than constructive criticism of what they can do to be better. Okay, if you're just going to attack what's already done and you got no suggestions for a brighter future, you know you're probably going to go unheard, man. You know, it's like, be nice. Even if you're being mean, be nice. Okay, isn't that what was it Roadhouse dude said? "I'm the cooler." Okay, you guys be nice, right? You know, just be nice. Man, there are so many people whose campaigns would do so much better if they were just nice to people all the time. You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, let me ask you a question. It's a legitimate question as well. Every question is legitimate now. Wow, I got to stop saying that. But this is my question. How do you separate a writer or an artist or a creator from a project versus the actual project? And the reason why I ask this is that there's certain people I have problems with that I don't care if you're involved in the project. You're a great writer, but you're a horrible human being. I can't back your project because you've crossed lines with me, you've upset me, you have offended me, you have attacked me, and you're a great writer and your writing is amazing. And I would love to, if your name was not on the book and it was anonymous, I would probably buy your book. But since your name is on the book, I don't want anything to do with you.
It depends. I mean, I can say that honestly. Okay, there's people that I have their books that have, since I've gotten their books, become people I won't have anything to do with now, but I just don't talk about them. You know what I mean? It's
no.
their books.
I don't talk about those people either because I don't want to fight with them. and I don't want to attack. It's only one person. It legitimately is one person, and they're actually blocked on Facebook. I have 7 people I've blocked on Facebook.
As far as separating the creator from the work, it depends on the work. Okay. I don't care who's writing Thor. If they're true to Thor, I'm going to be reading Thor. He's my dude, right? At the same time, if the writer's taking Thor down a fucking road I don't care for, I'm not buying that book. Do you see what I'm saying? The story matters more than anything to me, more than the art, more than it's got to be a good story. It has.
I agree to some degree. So I am not a fan of Dan Slott. Me and Dan Slott have gotten in on Twitter.
Yeah, he blocked me. He don't like me either.
But he's blocked me too. But I like Spider-Man. I think he's a great Spider-Man writer. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the last 20 issues of Spider-Man, the first run from 680 to 700. I thought it was pretty decent, and I enjoyed it. I can separate that. That I can separate. But then there's other people in the indie world where you have attacked me, you have snapped at me, and you don't know me that well in order to do that. And person's in an anthology, and I had a real hard time back in that anthology. And I even said to the guy who's anthology, I'm like, hey man, I'm having a hard time. Convince me why I should back the anthology that this guy's in knowing, and he knows the whole story. And he was like, well, you should do it because I'm a friend of yours. Obviously, I supported your Kickstarter. I got this cool metal card, and the person obviously was very helpful. But it was not an easy coin toss.
I just said something totally different. I just said there's 28 other people involved in this project. Don't discount all them because you don't like one guy. And that's how I just said it. I just said it just like that. Don't not support everybody else because of that one dude. And I'm saying that for everybody in my anthology too. If there's somebody in it you don't like, there's a whole bunch of other people you do like. So get behind the ones you do like and just, leave shitty people behind. That's what I do.
Fair enough. It's something that I struggle with because there is a particular person, and anybody who knows me, and it's not that hard to find out the story, and it's pretty significant. And people get it, and people understand the whole deal with it, and they're like, no, I understand why you act this way. It takes a lot to upset me in that realm, in which there are plenty of people who are assholes, but all the people who attack me on my campaign, I think there's reconciliation. I believe that we all can, out of the 6 or 7 people who attack me, I believe that we can have a discussion and we can all get to a place where we're fine. And I believe in that. With this one person, it's hard to, but I digress. We've been talking
I extended the olive branch to some of those people that I left behind, and sometimes it turns into, things mend themselves and we move forward. And sometimes that person will come in and crap on the porch before you can even let them back in the door. I mean, look, there's nobody out there that can tell you that I've done them wrong. Nobody. I know my conscience is completely clear in all this. I try to promote people. If they come at me stupid, I probably won't promote them anymore. That's all. But I won't tell you not to promote them or not to back their book or anything like that. I just won't have time for them no more.
I look, nobody tells me.
I don't got time for anybody that ain't having fun.
I can tell you for a fact that nobody tells me who I can and can't speak to. And I don't really care why you're telling me that. I talk to whoever I want, whenever I want, why I want, and how I want. And nobody and people have tried, and it doesn't end well. And I'm like, okay, that's your opinion.
And I would never tell somebody also. You can ask anybody. I don't tell people not to work with somebody else. I might tell you, you might want to keep your guard up. Ain't heard good things. You might want to keep your guard up, or I have actual life experience with that person. Keep your guard up. But I don't tell people don't work with that. I'm not trying to take food off nobody's table. Nobody's.
I'll give somebody my opinion on somebody if I hear something, and I'm like, hey, look, make sure that you vet your artist. Make sure that maybe you want to get more money up front. Maybe you want to get the whole thing up front. You
Keep
know,
your guard up, however you want to interpret that. But yeah, going with your eyes open, know that they,
and look, I've said it the other way. I said, look, that person's good for it. That person's good for it, and they might not seem like they're good for it. Trust me. In which that I'm an excellent judge of character, and I've been asked about certain people, and I'm like, that person's good for it. Don't worry about it. That person's good for it. The likelihood of you getting screwed is minimal. You're that person's good for it. They may not seem like they are, but they are, and that person's good. And even if they do screw you, you're going to come out on top some way or another. So keep that in mind. Where I've had that conversation, but I digress right there. I do want to give you a chance to self promote. 2 hours in, my voice is getting hoarse, and I definitely want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So where can people find you? Where can people support the Indiegogo? Where can people follow you? Where can people tune in every night? All that fun stuff.
I'm kind of getting good at this. Okay. First off, everything we do originated out of the comic related madness on Facebook. Join the madness. That's where it's all going down. Everything else comes out of that. So the event post for the CromCon every month is in the madness on the events list. If you look there, you see the guest list for the whole show. It's already booked for April. Brian Polito is going to be there. Mike Barron's going to be there, amongst a whole bunch of other people. It's going to be a good time. Every month, it's a good time. Y'all just come out to Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant on YouTube, at Madness Comic on Twitter, right there, or in the Comic Related Madness. That's where I broadcast all of my shows. We have Monday Madness, Tuesday Morning Brew, the Madness Open Draw stream on Sunday afternoon. I do launch parties for people. Max DeVille, right there in the chat. We're launching Human Hunters on Monday Madness next week. Ain't gonna be no other guests. Just gonna be launching Max's book that day. So we do countdowns. If you're at the end of your campaign, you want to come out for the last hour before it's over and talk to people, we do that. Special editions, if none of those times work for you, I try to accommodate. I really do. If Monday Madness in the afternoon don't work for you, and Wednesday evening is the only time you got, we'll try to get you out here on a Wednesday evening. I can't guarantee that we're not going to get stepped on by 40 other shows, but I'll bring you out here. I mean, it's like I kind of picked the afternoon slot for Monday Madness because we get the Australians waking up in the morning drinking their coffee. We get the UK before they go to bed at night, and we got the US all across the afternoon, right? So it's the best time slot to reach the largest audience. That's why I do it then. Okay. Because I used to do 8 o'clock in the evening on Mondays. And man, it's like when I moved to 4 o'clock, I got a whole bunch more viewers. It's like people just getting off work or driving home from work and listening or whatever. But we do a lot better. So that's the network. The madness is what it is. Everybody just go there, drop your links for your campaigns, check out everybody else's campaign. If you need an artist, an editor, a writer, flatter, whatever you need, you go into madness, you say, hey, yo, any colorists in here? People are going to hit you up right away. 2,500 people over there, fans, creatives of all kinds, vendors, everything. I mean, a whole bunch of people in the madness. If you're a vendor, you're more than welcome to come out to CromCon as well. We've had Moto Glass, Tobias Kodachrome, all kinds of people that are vendors come out and show off what they sell. It's about networking and promotion. It's comic related madness. It's not just crowdfunders. If you're involved in this crazy world of comics, you're welcome to come show everybody what you do. That's what it's about. That's what I'm about. That's what the campaign is about. I mean, trust me when I tell you, if you'd have told me 2 years ago that I would be about to do my 2nd-year anniversary show of CromCon, I thought I'd do it for the summer, period. I thought everything would go back to normal. If you'd have told me I was still going to be doing this 2 years later after I started doing it, I'd have laughed at you. If you'd have told me that a comic book was going to end up coming out of this, I'd have really laughed at you because I had no aspirations of doing any of this when I started the comic related madness. It was and I'm not lying, it was a look what I got group. That's what we did. That's how it started. It was just, I mean, there was no plan of any of this. This snowball started rolling out downhill. It grew way beyond my ability to. There's no way I could do all this by myself. Without Doc, without Rich, without Tank, without the guys doing, Manny and Lee Reese doing editing the CromCon video every month, Morgan Quaid with the intro music. If it wasn't for all these people throwing in,
I like Morgan a lot right now.
oh, dude, Morgan's stuff is sweet. I love that one
He
video.
got my project, which is cool.
I like that one video. And then there's that. A dead body in a dumpster. Looks like a grizzly bear crawled out of his stomach. I'm like, oh, this is good. He's got some good stuff, man. Whoa, camera. Just pull the cord right out of the wall. There you go. I'm still here.
So on that note, I'm going to just stop you and I'm going to promote myself because I might as well. Obviously, I appreciate like shares and all that stuff. Also, you have to support indie comics, and the way you go about doing that is first and foremost, you back campaigns. Backing a campaign actually means something whether you're backing digital, physical, or a combination of both, or any format in that factor, I guess. Very important to do that. But if money is an issue and you're broke, I think everybody's been there. Everybody understands it. One of the things that you can do is share it out on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter, share it on YouTube, share it out anywhere you could share it out. Tell a friend in person, call a friend, text a friend, send them the link. It goes a long way. It really does. And it does make a difference because you never know who's
goes to all your pothead friends.
But in all seriousness, it does make a difference, and it is very important to do that because it is
niche marketing as well. I try to tell people about this all the time. Okay, if you have a niche book, you have a horror story, okay, werewolves or whatever. There are a ton of Facebook groups related to horror.
I'll throw you.
You might not know about your comic. Go tell them. So I can go in those groups.
There's I don't know if you know who Ben Lacey is.
Yeah.
Shark of War. Uh-huh. So he has a shark book. Guess where you want to put that? In shark groups. You also want to put it in How to Survive a Shark Attack because guess what? It's going to probably do well there too. So it's this idea that, or a Jaws group, and I've had discussions that Brett Juliano has a gangster book.
Dude, I love his stuff.
Oh,
Dust Bunny Mafia, come on, man!
I'm glad I saved the money with my previous sponsor. Thrilled about that.
Because that's what I'm talking about. See, we know a lot of the same people. They've been on my show too, and that's what it's all about. Getting on as many shows, promoting yourselves as much as you can. I'm in this game now where it's not just my shows, but I have a month scheduled of other shows I'm going on. Usually it's everybody comes on my show. Now I'm going on shows and being interviewed, and it's like shoe on the other foot.
I need to gear up for that, but I don't have anything coming out for at least 2 months, and I'm making sure I get a job first. And I got sort of a job interview tomorrow, so fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Which means I just jinxed myself, but that's not the point. But continuing promoting myself. Obviously I have a T-shirt out there, so you can buy my T-shirt on Redbubble. It's making fun of Gundam, Taco Bell, and the most interesting man in the world, with a reference to Fallout. Awesome shirt. 16 different colors on Redbubble. You can pick any color you want. Super cool thing. And then I have this also as well from the remnants of my Kickstarter. I have about 40 of them left. My partner, who was in this metal card, was actually just at Wizard World as a guest. So it's a cool thing. He's DJ Croft. So this will actually not be reproduced once they're sold out. So if you want one of those, they're $10. They are going up in price in about 2 days from now. So obviously you might want to get them now if you're a metal card fan. I already have an idea what we're doing, me and him, for the next round of them. So that's important. Obviously, if you want to buy me a coffee, help support this show, you're welcome to do that. If you want to advertise on this show, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Or if you want to hit me up and you want to be a guest, you could buy a guest spot, or you could hit me up and solicit me. I may or may not accept it depending on your project. I am extremely selective right now, but you're more than welcome to submit if you're interested, because I definitely look at projects. The rules are simple. It's either you pay me, you bring me an audience, or you bring me another guest. Those are the three ways how to get on my show. So if you want to be on my show, one of those three things will get you however you want. As far as the money, you could determine what you think is appropriate. And you
How
can
many
give me
guests you want?
information. So, and that's pretty
How
much.
many guests you want, Andrew? How many do you want?
Just one is fine, or 10.
Dude, all you got to do is go look at that CromCon guest list and hit every one of them up.
I'm
There's
not
30
concerned about
people right there to choose from.
the difference is that when somebody approaches me, you have to bring something to the table. If I approach you, you don't have to bring something because I selected you. If you
But
want
still, it's just you still okay. I'm telling you that there's a plethora of guests of prospective guests right there on that list. You don't
I'm
even
gonna
have
be
to look
looking
for
at
it.
it. Don't worry. I am more than good right now. I am looking forward to May right now and trying to book some people because I'm good in April, and I have some other people that have not been announced actually on my show yet. But I am looking also for talent, and I'm looking for people who are at a certain caliber as well. So obviously, I'm being very selective, but that's neither here nor there. Obviously, though, I'm going to give you the final word. So
I was gonna say I just booked a new permanent spot for CromCon for Silverline Comics. In the future, starting in May, 8 o'clock on Saturday will be the Silverline Hour, and it will be Roland and his people, and
I
from 8
can't
to
stand
9 at CromCon forever
Roland
going
and
forward.
Ron Davis and Aaron and John. What horrible people they are! Just horrible
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
I'm being facetious. I love Roland in a
yeah,
lot of
me too.
ways, and I've had a bunch of those people on. Tommy, I've had on, Floramonte, and so I thoroughly enjoy what Roland does. And
Yeah,
so
but I threw it at him. I was like, rather than try to hit or miss on spots, because the spots really go fast. CromCon, when I do sign up, it's always full within 24 hours, always. And Roland come to me like 5 days after sign up, and he's like, "Hey, man," and I'm like, "Look, Roland, you got too many people not to just have your own hour in CromCon every month. You got too many people and too many things going on. You should just be sewing up an hour every month, right?" So he went and talked to everybody, and he come back and he's like, "Yeah, it sounds good, man." So there will be a Silver Line Hour at 8 o'clock on Saturdays going forward in CromCon. You know,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but I do want to give you the final word. Where obviously to end this entire interview and show, so you have the final word.
the final word is support this guy. Okay, support him because he's putting in work. Y'all don't realize how much goes into these shows. Unless you're doing these shows, you just don't know. Okay, I know people that come out, they do a half-hour guest spot, and then they're like, "Man, I'm so drained. That was so." I was like, "Yeah, try to do this shit for 3 days straight, all freaking day, and still come out here with the energy, right?" Because I am trying to promote what you guys do, and that's the most important thing, man. Get eyes on everybody that you can. Support people like Andrew, people like me, people like RJ that are just trying to get people seen, man. Help them out. Make sure the show. Look, if I can't pay my StreamYard next month, ain't no CromCon next month. You know what I mean? I mean, there still would be. It'd be the cheap six window free StreamYard. I'd still do it, but man, I'm so used to being able to have a full slate, 10 people out here, and have all the bells and whistles and videos and overlays, and I'd look really lame without them. So support people like me, people like Andrew, back indie comics, man, and have fun. Be nice to each other.
Well, I don't think I could have said it any better myself. And everybody, that is a wrap.